guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks so much for clicking on today's video. Today is a bit of a casual one. As you can see, I'm just sitting here in my beauty room in my robe with just my eyebrows done because I thought we'd do a little cute get ready with me. I asked you guys over on Instagram just to send me some questions of topics that you'd like me to film. And I thought I would just kind of sit down and play around in some makeup and we could have a bit of a chat. I've got a few new bits in the mix as well, so I'll be telling you about those as we go. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then just keep watching. But before you do, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would love if you would join the fam gang, subscribe and leave me a comment down below. Let me know that you're a new subby. I love talking to all my subscribers. And also please give the video a thumbs up. Yeah, so grab your cup of tea, wine, you know, whatever beverage you'd like, a snack, and let's get into the video. So I recently opened up one of these. Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I love the Volume 1 palette. If you've been watching this channel long enough, you'll know that I use it quite a bit. This is what that looks like. Honestly, this palette, I went kind of and ahhing for the longest time, but I'm so glad that I did get it. It's got some really nice, unique brown shades that work so well for like a more neutral eye. And I think what I'm gonna do today is actually keep the eye quite neutral, but I'm going to do a bit of a dramatic liner. So I've got some glitter, some new glitter that I got from NYX that I think I want to do a bit of a glitter liner with. I haven't done this before, so we're going to see how that's going to go. But yeah, I'll just start off with my eyes. It's going to be really, really simple. I think I'm going to go into the shade here called Homebody. And it's just a really nice kind of terracotta-y brown, but not too orange. I don't know how to explain it, it's just pretty. I'm just gonna actually pack that on all over the eye. So yeah guys, how first of all are you all doing? I know this seems like it's a bit of a cliche comment right now, but listen, we're going through it collectively as a people. Collectively, I think Corona, as much as it's kind of been a few months and we've kind of settled in to what it is, I think it's hit a lot of us in different ways. If you're working from home, that means that you're not really leaving your house as often as you used to, so it can feel a bit like kind of caged in. If you're still going to work, then there's that risk of like, am I gonna catch the Rona while I'm out here? And if you're self-employed, then obviously the economy is taking a massive hit at the moment. So I think wherever kind of place that you are, it's not cute at the moment. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit rough. So I think just check in on your friends, check in on your people. I have definitely gone through bouts of feeling just like, nah mate, this is absolutely not the one. So just make sure that you're checking in on each other because it is absolutely taking a toll on all of us. And I know we would all love to get back to normal, but unfortunately right now, at least for Kenya and the kind of greater East Africa, Horn of Africa region, it seems like it's gonna get worse before it gets better. I'm gonna put a slightly lighter color up towards the brow bone, and there's a shade in here called Comfort Zone, which is just like a really nice peachy brown kind of light shade, which I think will be nice to give a subtle highlight to the brow. Yeah, as for me, yeah, just kind of trying to hold on like the rest of us, but my daughter just recently turned 2. So I'm the mummy of a 2-year-old officially. Honestly, you guys, sometimes I have times where I'm like, am I somebody's mother? Like a whole me? Yeah, she turned 2. Light of my life, that little one, honestly, light of my life. Now, I know that sounds really cliche, but she just honestly makes things so much better, so much like more worthwhile. And what I'm loving at the moment about her development is like that you can really see, like, so when babies are like really young, you can see kind of like physical development. So they can hold their neck up, they can roll over, they can sit up, they try their first foods. But now because she's like a communicator and she's like talking, it's just like, wow. But you know, motherhood isn't all kind of like roses. Of course, it's hard work, it's demanding work. They need you every day, they need you all the time. So it is very engaging, and there are times when, you know, It's stressful because she's now 2, of course, and she's been doing it for about 18 months, I'd say. So the tantrums, the testing waters, and you know, those kind of times are testing for a parent. And the mum guilt is real. I think just not constantly feeling this way, but just very being aware of, you want the best for your child, and are you doing enough, and could you be doing more, and should you be considering this, and you haven't started doing this yet, and la 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 la, that kind of stuff I think is just always kind of nagging at the back of your head. But I try to take it easy on myself, and I've got a really supportive family, and when I need time off, you know, I can go and drop her off and have, you know, somebody else take care of her so that I can do my mummy things and my me time, my alone time, and then resume mummy duties kind of like after the fact. But honestly, at the moment, it's been an incredible journey, but I am absolutely loving it. By the way, I have just darkened up my crease with this palette, the Velvet Rose, the reloaded one from Makeup Revolution. I just went into 2 shades to try and deepen it up. I'm not going in super dramatic with the deepening. I want it to look fairly natural because we're going to go in with the glitter, so I don't want it to be, you know, too much. So let me just blend that out there, and then we'll do a thing. If you are a new mum, or you're about to be a new mum, I think balance is the most important thing. Just trying to remind yourself that there is no manual to this, there's no handbook. You, of course, are going to do the best that you can for your child, but at the end of the day, as long as they're, you know, clothed, eating well, healthy, happy, you're engaging them to like engage their mind, then I think the other things and the stresses that we put on ourselves are kind of us putting them on ourselves rather than the child. Children are very adaptive and are very forgiving of our mistakes as parents, and we can't always get it right, so I don't think stress yourself out too much about that. And if you are a new, or if you're about to be a new mum as well, there's a video that I did just when my daughter was, I think, about 3 months, about the kind of products and things, or clothes and stuff, that I thought were more essential than others, what you really need for, like, you know, a 0 to 3 month old. That video is gaining a bit of traction actually, and I get a lot of comments from mums in Kenya saying, oh, thank God, like somebody has done this in Kenya so that I can relate to like where to get these things locally. So I'll make sure to link it on screen as well as in the description box. So if you're looking for information about, you know, what you should buy, because I know it can be very overwhelming, like what do you get, what don't you get, etc. So you can check that out. Yeah, so just to kind of like share so that we don't all feel alone, like one of the things that I'm feeling very guilty about now in terms of mummy guilt is with coronavirus, and particularly the more or less lockdown that we had at the beginning, was that I planned for my daughter to start play school or playgroup or whatever you call it this year, like pretty early this year, and then coronavirus happened and we didn't really know how that was going to kind of evolve, and so kind of just keeping her in and not exploring that. And you know, we live in a little estate where thankfully there are a lot of families and other kids that she can play with, some her age and some of like different ages. I'm just gluing my lashes, by the way. But there, you know, I wanted her to have some kind of structured learning, because obviously I'm working from home and my work has kind of intensified since I've been home, so I've not really had the extra time to really sit with her and do you know, learning activities in the way that I wanted playgroup to kind of fill that gap, because during the day I'm working, so we get, you know, maybe an hour in or something at the end of the day, where we'll do, you know, letters and colouring and other kinds of stuff. But in terms of have a very structured day, I'm just not able to do that for her, and that's kind of where I wanted the playgroup to kind of fill the gap, and we haven't been able to do that. So I've been feeling very guilty about, like, oh my god, is this stunting her development? Like, you know, she should be engaging now, and this is the perfect time for her to be building that up, and also like social skills, etc., etc. But I've just said to myself, calm down, like, it's not the end of the world. She's getting play, which is good, and we do stuff, and she's picking up a lot of things like colours, letters, numbers, shapes, etc. And thankfully she seems quite smart, so that's making my work a lot easier, and she enjoys it, you know, because you make it fun, and she's really into reading now, so we read a lot. So I mean, she's enjoying it, but still the guilt is back at the back of my mind. And then now I'm thinking, right, okay, 2021 looks like the time then maybe to take her back. But then now the second wave is coming, you guys, and I know children aren't as, you know, that they're not suffering the effects as much as other age groups, but the fear that she could get sick and then, you know, something terrible could happen, that terrifies me as a mum. Right, shall we attempt? Yeah, I'm gonna attempt to do the glitter liner now, and I'm a little bit scared because this could go very wrong, but I think I'm gonna do it before I do my foundation, because then otherwise my foundation might be covered in glitter. For glue, I'm using the NYX glitter primer. Love this stuff. It is a great little glitter glue. I'm just using a little detailed angled brush to apply the glue where I have got the liner. The little glitter glue looks like this. It's called, this is in the shade, just in case you ever want to pick it up, Goldstone. And it's kind of like a bronzy, yeah, like a bronze glitter. So let me try and dab that on. On the plus side though, you know, what's amazing about having a 2-year-old now is that you can send them for stuff. I feel like this is the epitome of being a parent, like being able to tell your child, like, go and get for me this, or go and put this in the bin, or go and ask for this in the kitchen. And the fact that they will actually do it is just so, I'm so jazzed by it. Like, here comes the soft life. Okay, time to move on to skin now. So I'm gonna go in with my All-Star Matte and Blur primer from Colourpop. You guys, I think they've discontinued this primer. It disappeared from the Colourpop website during Corona, because I think it just went out of stock. And then it's just not come back now. They're restocking things and it's not even on the website. So I'm panicking that it's like completely gone. And I've seen that they've got another matte primer on the website, but it doesn't say blurring. So I don't know if it's just like repackaging and they've just put it in new packaging, or if they've just like decided to discontinue it completely. I'm so sad because this primer is so good. It's a dupe for the original Fenty primer, you know, the first one that came out. It's basically exactly the same thing as that. So I'll be sad if it is no longer available. I had a few people ask about skin questions, simple skincare routines and what my current skincare routine is. I think I'll do a separate video at some point about my updated skincare routine and kind of what I've been focusing on in terms of my skincare. But in terms of a simple routine, honestly, unless you have something that you're trying to treat, you only really need a couple of things. Cleanser, double cleanse, so like, you know, maybe an oil cleanser or a balm cleanser and your regular cleanser, a moisturizer and a sunscreen. That's actually what you need for your like basic core foundational skincare routine, and then you can add stuff on top of that if you feel like you need to treat something. So if you have hyperpigmentation and you want to treat that, or you have texture and you want to treat that, or you have acne and you want to treat that. But if your skin is just normal and you've not got issues, keep it simple, boo. Like, don't stress yourself out trying to add everything in. I, of course, will always be testing out new stuff and adding new stuff in, just because that's the nature of who I am. I'm a massive consumer and I love trying out new stuff, so I will always do that, and then I can tell you about them. But don't feel the pressure to be adding all these extra things in if you don't feel the need to. I'm just going to start with my base, by the way. I'm going to mix in Fenty and Maybelline. So I'm still a little bit dark from the trip that we took a few weeks ago, and I want to try out a new setting spray, and that one's supposed to give a radiant finish. So I want to try it out with matte foundations and see how I like it. And as well, I got the Jackie Aina brush. It's not the Jackie Aina brush, it's the NYX, I don't know, multi-purpose brush or whatever it's called. But I picked it up, and just by doing this, you guys, I can tell why she likes it. But I'm gonna test it out today, so let's see how that goes. So in terms of my skincare routine, the couple of things that I have been focusing on are basically hydration. So just trying to keep my skin really, really, really hydrated. Hydrating toners, hydrating, like, you know, serums, etc. And then also sunscreen. Like, me and sunscreen now, I'm not playing. Like, I apply sunscreen every morning, I reapply during the day. Yeah, I'm just not playing these games with the sunscreen anymore, and I feel as though I have become so consistent in my use, and I'm already starting to see like a difference in my skin. I'm just loving it, you guys. So I think those are the big things that I would say to look out for in terms of your routine, aside from like the actives. And I can talk about that in like the dedicated video that I will do. But sunscreen has been my boo. Just make sure you're putting on enough sunscreen, by the way. The 2-finger rule, so make sure, like, if you get your sunscreen, spread it on one finger, spread it on another finger. That's how much sunscreen you need for your face. And then try and reapply during the day. If you're staying home and you're not wearing any makeup, reapply. If you can get hold of a spray sunscrene, do your top-ups. Yeah, so do what you need to do, boo. So I've just mixed that on the back of my hand. I think that's the kind of colour that I want, although I've definitely got too much product. But I'm just going to try and apply this on to my face right now. I have got videos, if you're just looking for kind of like, I have got videos on my channel as well, talking about, you know, tips on how to build a routine, a skincare routine. And also, oh, I like this brush. Yes, boo, I like this brush. Skincare, how to build a skincare routine. And also, like, my last skincare routine that I was kind of working with at the time. So I'll link those as well, and you can check them out if you'd like. Because I think it will still be a couple of weeks before I do an updated video on my skincare routine right now, just because I'm still tweaking a few different things, and I've just added in a couple of new products that I'm trying. So I want to make sure that I have an opinion on them first before I kind of, you know, come on here and give you the tea. Because with skincare, you really need to give it a couple of weeks, a month to 6 weeks at least, to kind of see how your skin performs with that skincare, unless you're having a reaction, of course, because then just ditch it. But if you're not having a reaction, like, to actually test and see like whether your skin has improved, changed, etc. And you do just need to give it a little bit of time. So I want to make sure that I've got my opinions properly formulated before I come on here and give you an update. Oh my gosh, this brush. This is the brush. Okay, I know I say this about a lot of brushes because I just feel like, you know, they're all different, but this, there's a couple of things I like about this brush. Just pause a minute. There's a couple of things I like about this brush. Number one, the hairs. It has an almost like bouncy effect. It doesn't just like sit in your skin, and I don't know how to explain that. It doesn't feel like it kind of feels very light and springy, and I don't know how they like put together those hairs, but it's a thing. And then the handle feels quite nice and weighty, but also the length of it is pretty nice. I don't know, it just kind of feels nice in my hand. Yeah, Jackie, I understand why you were about this. Okay, I like how that foundation has gone on and blended with this brush, and also just like mixing the two. They seem to have rhymed, the formula of the Maybelline and Fenty. If you don't know, by the way, in Fenty I am 445, and the Maybelline shade I've mixed in is 365 to try and get that colour payoff. I had a really interesting question from one of my Instagram followers who asked about what is the worst customer service experience that you have ever experienced or like received. And to be honest, this is a little bit of a bugbear for me because customer service is a big deal to me. Like, if you're running a business and you haven't invested in your customer service and trying to make the experience as kind of simple as you can within your means, but also just treating your customers in a decent way, and you don't have a mechanism for kind of rectifying any mistakes that you make, then I don't think you are taking your business as seriously as you could. Because if I get a bad experience personally, I will talk about it. I'll tell people about how bad it was. I will definitely tell the people right there, especially if it's like a face-to-face customer service, I will tell you about how bad it is. And listen, if you ever want somebody to complain, get you a Pisces friend. I'm a Pisces, and people kind of mistake us for being like airy-fairy and dreamy and a little bit aloof, which we can be. But listen, if my feelings get caught, that's when you'll know that I'm a Pisces, because we come at you. A Pisces friend will read the other person for absolute filth and just, you know, take it down. And I'm one of those people, like, if my mouth opens and I'm upset, sorry for you, because you're gonna catch these feelings. You're gonna catch these feelings and you're gonna figure out yourself what to do with them. I don't know if I have like a standout time when I handled a complaint or an issue like that, but one that I can remember is when my husband were like dating, and we were like over at his house, and we'd been out the night before, and we were like hungover, and we just wanted pizza, and we wanted pizzas from Debonair. So we ordered the pizzas, and so, you know, we're waiting. I think Debonair's wait time at that time was like 45 minutes or something. So 45 minutes go by, I think it comes up to like an hour, and nobody's called, nobody's on the way. So we're like, this pizza Jafrika, like, it's taking so long. So I called up the Debonair store and I'm like, hey, we have this order for these pizzas and for this address, and they've still not arrived. So the person on the line is like, oh, okay, just give me a minute, I'm gonna call you back and, you know, let me figure out where the rider is. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Now let me tell you, before we even get into this story, if you tell me you're gonna call me back, you had better call me back. There is nothing I can't stand more than, okay, I'm calling you back, and you're not, especially like when I'm waiting for a service that I've already paid for, or like, you know, I'm expecting it to arrive. Don't tell me you're gonna call me back if you're not gonna call me back. So just bear that in mind, because this is gonna be a central part of the story. Oh, it's turned into a bit of a story time. And so I'm waiting for this call back, and I'm thinking, gosh, it's not gonna take long for you to like call the rider, figure out where they are, and then call back. So like 10 minutes goes by and nobody's calling back. So I'm like, these people aren't gonna call back, let me call them. I call them and I'm like, hey, I was waiting for your call back, but anyway, what's the story with the pizzas? And then they're like, oh, we're still trying to, what did they say? I can't remember if the first time they said, oh, we're still checking, just give me a second, I'm actually calling you back. No, I'm calling you back. And then I was like, listen, if you're gonna tell me that you're calling me back, actually call me, because I'm waiting right now for you to call me. And the person was like, yeah, just a minute, I'm calling you. I think it was somebody different. So that person never called. So I ended up calling back again, and I was like, listen, this is the last time that I'm calling you back, stop playing games, tell me what's happening with my food. They made up some excuse, according to me, that the rider had had a puncture. So they told me that the rider had had a puncture and there was an issue with his bike. So they were sending out another bike to basically pick up the pizza and bring it over. So I'm just like, okay, so how long should we expect to wait for this pizza to get here? I think they must have said, no, it won't take long, like another half an hour or something of the sort. So at this point, like, we're so helpless. There's nobody else that's delivering, because I think it was coming up to late, and I think we were coming up to like maybe the last deliveries of the day or something. So we couldn't get pizzas from anywhere else. And you know, when you're just so rough and you don't want to leave the house, it was one of those ones. Like, we couldn't physically like gather ourselves to leave the house and go and look for these like extra food. So we were really relying on these pizzas to basically arrive and help us, because we were dying. Long story short, these people didn't call back, and the next time I called back, I was like, listen, I don't want to talk to anybody, put me on the phone to the manager, because I can't be talking to different people all the time, and I'm not getting a resolution, and things aren't arriving by the time. In fact, I think I told them if I would have left my house and walked, I would have gotten that pizza faster than this rider is taking to arrive. Basically, I just think that they were busy that day and they didn't, they'd forgotten to process the order. Like, somebody had messed up and somebody had forgotten to process the order, because in the time it took, I think it was more than like 2 hours by the time the pizza actually arrived. I don't think they had prepared it, and I think by the time that I had first called and they realized, that was when they were starting to like get themselves together and try and like organize to have this pizza ready. So I was furious. And then I was like, look, you're not putting me on phone, you're not putting me on hold. I'm not waiting for anybody else to come and handle this. Manager, you need to fix this. What are you going to offer for this? Because now I've waited for a ridiculous amount of time for this food to arrive. So I think the manager was a woman, and then she was like, don't worry, we'll throw in some extra chips. I was like, who told you that I wanted chips? Okay, I didn't say it like that, but that was what was in my mind. I was like, who told you that I wanted chips? I cannot stand when you've ordered something and then somebody offers you something on top as like an extra thing, and they think that that will just automatically fix it. Especially for food, because you usually order the food that you're going to eat. Like, you don't over order too much food. Or if you have, then you're definitely not going to add on something extra, because that's just going to be a waste. So how are you going to tell me that you're going to add on a bag of chips that costs so cheap for the amount of time that I've waited, and you're trying to tell me that a bag of chips is going to cut it? No, love. I was like, keep your chips. I don't want the chips. I want the pizzas that I've ordered. Yeah, I think there were 2 pizzas. So eventually the rider came over, and as I said, this was like at the 2-hour mark or just past the 2-hour mark. And then she called me, I think at that point, to be like, oh, I think he's at the gate knocking. Can somebody go and open and like get the food? I was like, yeah, he's here, but just know I'm not paying for this food. She was like, what? I was like, listen, I've waited more than 2 hours for this food to arrive. I am not paying for this food. She was like, no, you can't do that, la la la. I was like, I don't know who you think this is, but whatever service you've shown me, I've had to call back. I think I called back a total of like 5 or 6 times to talk to different people. Everybody's giving me a different story. Everyone's giving me a different estimation. Nobody can explain that basically you're just effed up. And I'm sat here waiting for food to arrive that hasn't arrived. So we quarreled it out on the phone, and basically I didn't pay for those pizzas. I took them from the rider, and that was the end of that story. Now, in hindsight, was I a bit harsh? Yes, but I told you, don't get in my feelings. If you pee me off as a Pisces, trust me, you will get the most horrible kind of version of self, because we're just very emotional, so you will get all the feelings. In that situation, Debonair should have just basically said, I'm sorry, we screwed up, we missed this order, we're going to process it as like priority, but it's going to take X amount of time, we'll call you when it's leaving, and we'll take 10% off your order, or whatever it is. You know, if they would have gone in proactively like that from the beginning, then we wouldn't have had this kind of build-up of emotion where I'm thinking that something's on the way and you're like, oh, I'm just calling the rider, I'm going to call you back. Oh, he's just around the corner, I'm going to call you back, because that was what they said at one point, and he still was nowhere to be seen. Those kind of lies escalate the situation and make it so much worse. So just accept the blame. Yes, we got it wrong. 2, this is how we're resolving it. And 3, this is how we're going to compensate you for the mess up that we made. So I'm going to go in and do some bronzer and blush, and I'm going to go in with this palette here. It is the Juvia's Place Sahara Blush Volume 1 palette looks like that. There is a volume 2 that has like shades for lighter skin, but if you're dark like me, then you might want to reach for this one. It has a couple of shades in here that look beautiful for I think what I want to do. I want to try and go in with some contour with this shade right here called Abby in the corner. I was swatching them yesterday and Abby might come off a little bit purple, I don't know. So I'm just going to go in with like a teeny tiny amount and then blend that out and hopefully see what happens with that. I think I'm actually going to go in with this stipple brush, which I sometimes use for liquid contour, but I'm going to use it for this. So just pick up a little bit and then spread that on my face. And then I'm going to put a little bit on my forehead as well. To bronze that up and a little bit on my jawline. And there's this shade here in the middle at the top called Neo. I'm going to use that for the blush. I'm loving these kind of like, how do you describe this shade? Reddy browns. Yeah, I don't know. I need to find the exact color reference for that so that I tell you what it is, but I'm in love with these kind of shades at the moment for blush. I had one more question about how I am managing to balance like work and home life. And I don't know. I'm just trying. I think in terms of balancing anything in your life, it is about setting out absolutely everything that you'd love to get done and then prioritizing. And you do have to try and prioritize things in a meaningful way. What's been more tricky has been trying to balance doing an 8 to 5 and trying to run a business on the side as well. So I think that has like a lot of different considerations. So I might do a separate complete video on that. Leave me a comment and give the video a thumbs up if you want me to do a separate video on that, and ask me the kind of questions that you would want me to kind of focus on or answer in the video. But it's been difficult. I've tried to put in place some systems which help me because my brain can process a lot of information at one time, but that also means that I can become very distracted very easily. So I have a lot of thoughts kind of flying around, and if I don't put in place mechanisms to help me manage my business side of things, then that can kind of fall by the wayside. So maybe I'll do a business, I think I'll do a business video in terms of like 9 to 5 and also doing a business on the side. I think that might be useful to try and just kind of have that conversation and to see what that kind of like is in reality, because it's not easy. And there's definitely bits that I've gotten wrong and I've kind of learned from as well. So maybe I'll do a separate video just on that. All right guys, so that is my final look. I don't know, what am I doing today? I need to run errands. It's Saturday. I need to run errands and then be back so that I can hopefully edit this video and get it up for you this weekend. Love you so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.